Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I hope you're having a productive day. In my previous lecture, I discussed foregrounding in detail. In today's lecture, we will discuss how foregrounding is realized or identified in a literary piece of writing. The effects of foregrounding is usually achieved through deviation and parallelism. So the focus of this lecture is to discuss deviation in detail. There are different levels of deviation. For example, lexical deviation, phonological deviation, syntactic deviation, morphological deviation, graphological deviation, etc. So in this lecture, we will learn lexical deviation in detail. In order to understand today's lecture in a better way, you need to watch my previous lecture on foregrounding first. Today's lecture is also very fruitful for those who want to conduct their researches in the field of literary stylistics and want to investigate the stylistic effect of deviation in a literary piece of work. So let's begin and learn our today's lecture with Muhammad Imran. Deviation and parallelism. Foregrounding is realized by linguistic deviation and linguistic parallelism. So then, foregrounding is identified or realized through deviation or through parallelism. Remember, linguistic deviation and linguistic parallelism. So we will discuss in detail deviation. So what is deviation? A phenomenon when a set of rules, linguistic rules or expectations are broken in some way. You are expecting one kind of syntactic rules, you are expecting one kind of phonological pattern and the opposite of it happens. So then your expectations are broken. Such as with this font has just changed this font, the font of this lecture has just changed. This deviation from expectation produces the effect of foregrounding, which attracts attentions and aids memorability. So simply we can say that deviation happens when the rules of a language are violated. Okay? For example, we have rules to construct a sentence in English. We place first subject, then we place verb, and then we place object. If you come across with a sentence that first object is placed, then subject is placed, and then verb is placed, so this is deviation from expected norms. You are expected something else and something else happens. Or for example, usually we add inflection s with a verb when we are using third person singular subject pronoun or noun. For example, we say she loved to learn English. So this is unexpected way because we have to use s inflection with loves. So the normal rules or the normal pattern would be she loves to learn English. And if you come across that she loved to learn English, so then S has been removed. So this is unexpected way, right? So this unexpected pattern may happen at a lexical level, phonological level, graphological level, morphological level, semantic level, or any kind of level. So then the normal rules of a language are deviated, right? So you are expecting one kind of rule and the opposite of it happens. Why does it happen? It happens in order to give a fresh look to a literary piece of work, or in other way to attract the attention of the reader or audience. So to produce stylistic effect and to attract the attention of the reader and audience, most often writers in poetry or in any literary piece of work, they deviate from expected norms and tradition of a language use. So here we have level of deviation. Deviation of register and deviation of historical period. So a writer may deviate from register, expected register, or a writer may deviate from historical period. How we will discuss in detail in coming slide. Deviation may occur at dialectical level, right? Dialectical deviation, or deviation may occur at semantic level, then we call it semantic deviation, or deviation may occur at graphological level. Deviation may occur at phonological level. Similarly, we can have deviation at grammatical level. That's called grammatical deviation. And deviation may be lexical deviation. And one thing is missing from here, that is morphological deviation, but we can include morphological in grammatical deviation. So these are all the levels of deviation. Deviation may occur at this level, at this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, or this one. So this is a productive area to conduct your researches, right? You can investigate dialectical deviation, semantic deviation, graphological deviation, phonological deviation, grammatical deviation. It is up to you, and it will happen according to the text, that what kind of deviation has used by the writer. You have to investigate, and why this level of deviation is used. Sometimes you can't have these all deviation like in the same literary piece of work. It's not possible, right? You may have 1, 2, or 3 types of deviation in one literary text. You may have 1, 2, 3, 4 types of deviation in other literary work. So it is hard to find all these type of deviation in a single literary piece of work. So you can conduct your research and you can take any level of deviation and then apply on a literary piece of work. Lexical deviation. Here we will talk in detail about lexical deviation. So it is deviation at word level. The coining of entirely new word, which is technically called neologism. When he awakened under the wire, he did not feel as tough. He had just cringed, right? So it is the word which is used for the first time to attract the attention of the audience. Even though it was second cringing within the week. Again, you can find cringing. So he felt fit. Is taken from Cordwood Vanner Smith 1950. So deviation also occur at lexical level when new or entirely new words are coined for the first time to attract the attention of the reader. Now, lexical deviation may not happen all the time with the introduction of new words or the coinage of entirely new words. Lexical deviation may also happen when the writers they use the prefix for before the verb see and tell. So then we have all words like tell and see, which are verbs, and the writer use for before the verb see and before the verb tell to give a new and fresh idea. Like we have a verb for see, or we have a verb like for tell, right? So then we have existing old words and the new words are created or formulated from the old ones to give a fresh idea to the readers and audience. So T.S. Eliot uses the term for suffer in the waste land. Similarly, and I, Tiresias, have for suffer all, not just a new word but the encapsulations of a newly formulated idea. It is possible to anticipate mystically the suffering of the future, just like foresee or foretell. So you can't say something for the future until you are not like someone who is a mystical person, right? Or who is a saint person, right? Or who can see something in the future. So when we say like foresee and foretell, so we are talking about the future. Or when we say for suffer, so we are talking about the future. How somebody knows that he or she will suffer in the future? Until and unless you are not a mystic person. So only a mystic person can tell whether you will suffer or you will not in the future. So then we can conclude that new ideas are also formulated by using like the prefix for before the verb see and tell and before the verb suffer. Further explanation to lexical deviation. In stylistic, lexical deviation refer to a new word or expression or a new meaning for an old word used on only particular occasion. In the previous slide, we found that sometimes new words or entirely new words are introduced. Or sometimes we may see that new meanings are given for an old one. For example, we explain we have a word like see, and we are using prefix before the see to say foresee. Or we have a verb like tell, and we are using prefix before the verb tell, and we say foretell. We have the verb suffer, and we are using for before the verb suffer, and we say like for suffer. So these all words are old one, but they gave new and fresh meaning to the audience or reader in order to gain their attention, and they are using on a particular occasion. Sometimes a writer intends to reach certain kind of rhetorical effect, so he will invent some new words based on the rules of word formation. But these new words are seldom or hardly used on other occasion. So these new words are introduced for a particular occasion. You may not find such words like everywhere or in everyday life situation. So those words then would be rarely used because they are used for a particular occasion. That means in literature, some invented new words are only used by the inventor himself and nobody else uses. Surely these non-formation words invented for special purpose now bring about certain stylistic effect and greatly improve the power of newness and expression of the language. Here we have some example of lexical deviation. Don't be such a harsh parent, father. Don't father me. So you can't find that father is used as a verb. So it is used rarely by a writer on a particular occasion. So here it is deviation. That father is used as a verb. We can't say don't father me. And you can't find like father as a verb. But here it is used by Wells. Another example, I was explaining the golden bull to his royal highness. I will golden bull you. You can see that the word bull is used as a verb here in order to get attention. You rascal, roar the majesty of Prussia. So you can see that the word bull, it is deviated here. Lexical deviation, usually associated with neologism, invention of new words. We call new words nouns formation if they are made up for the nouns, like for example, for a single occasion. If a word is used for a single occasion or if a word is invented for a single occasion, we call it nouns formation. Rather than serious attempts to augment the word stock for some new need. So we don't use such words like for all occasion. So these words are used for particular occasion. So this was all about lexical deviation. In next lecture, we will talk about phonological and syntactic deviation. So keep watching and enjoy learning with Muhammad Imran. Thank you so much.